This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a weekly movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show, each episode. You can find back episodes at ovpodcast.com, find the blog at obsessiveviewer.com, and you can also like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. And this is actually a special episode of the podcast, so we'll get into here in a second. But at the start, I just want to mention couple things. I'll be at Indiana Comic-Con on October 15th hosting a panel about hosting a solo podcast. That'll be Saturday, October 15th at 6:30 p.m. Here in Indianapolis. So if you're going to be at Indiana Comic-Con, come see me either make a giant ass of myself or see me adequately host a panel by myself about solo podcasts.
You'll be fine.
I'm sure I will. I just need to actually plan everything.
Please do.
Yeah. And once again, our episode sponsor this week is Horror Movie Yearbook, a great podcast discussing horror movies of a particular year each episode and contextualizing them into the year in pop culture and current events that they were released in. You can find that at HM Yearbook on Twitter and at horrormovieyearbook.com. And thank you to Horror Movie Yearbook and the Midwest Podcast Network for sponsoring this week's episode. And, Tiny, how's it going?
Wonderful.
Great. We are joined in studio by several guests.
We are.
It's a little overwhelming.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Invading your home.
Yes, it is. My cat is going crazy, sort of. I don't know.
She didn't know that so many people existed, I don't think.
I don't think she did. I keep it very, very, clear that, I'm the only person in the world. Anyway, this is a special episode of the podcast. We have on the creators of By the Rights, the movie pitching party game that we've been talking about for several weeks. And we also have returning guest Tony Troxell from Indiana Geeking. And why don't you guys say hi?
Well, they've all heard me before, so let's let Tommy and Chad talk, okay?
Gotcha.
I'm Tommy Day, one of the creators of By the Rights.
Name's Chad Yadon, also one of the creators of By the Rights. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. And I've told the story before, but I was really excited because we were guests on Tony's podcast, and then the next day after it was released, Tommy, you followed me and you on Twitter, and I just kind of checked it, and I saw creator of By the Rights, or I was just like, what is that? And it was actually payday, so I was like, you know what, pre-order it. That sounds awesome.
Mission accomplished.
And exactly. So now we have it, and what we're going to do is we're gonna talk about the game and get some good hard-hitting questions out there for you. And then we're going to play some rounds of it here on the podcast. So it's a bit of an unconventional episode for us, but I am super excited about it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. And so why don't you guys tell us how you got started, what the genesis of By the Rights?
Okay. I wish I had a better story to remember how I created it, but it kind of just the core concept just came to me one day. We would get together a lot, Chad and his wife Michelle and me and my wife Riley, we would play Cards Against Humanity and party games, and something just clicked, and I kind of just in my mind broke down a movie into 4 cards, and I thought well, if you did that and then you mixed them around, it'd be kind of funny. So I was surely somebody's done that though, and I kind of just forgot about it. And I think me and Chad had lunch one day and we're talking about just random stuff, and I mentioned it to him, and then a little bit later we
October 2015.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it kind of just sat in a notebook for a while, and then I think a few months later or something, we kind of got together with I think 20 cards from each deck on index cards, just some basic ideas, and at that point we really weren't even pitching, and we were just kind of laying the movies down, and found out it was actually really pretty funny, and so we just kind of realized this might be something we should develop,
Yeah. Nice. Great. And you guys are both here local in Indianapolis, of course. Yep. So it's awesome because we're big fans of, locally produced everything, really, we do Sharktober and Irvington and everything that's for local filmmakers. So it's really nice to, have this have this cool party game kind of come out of Indianapolis. Yeah. So what were some of the kind of trials and tribulations with actually making the game?
It's been a long journey. If you would have backed us on Kickstarter, you like our Kickstarter. We had one failed Kickstarter.
Oh, really?
The summer of, was that 2015?
Yeah. So in April 2015, we were playing it on index cards.
And then in June, we were like, let's try this on Kickstarter. Like, it kind of happened really fast.
Nice.
It was a really rough shape, and like we didn't really have, as much knowledge about Kickstarter.
You really, when you plan a Kickstarter, you want to try to plan it like a month-long event where you have kind of different things going on throughout the month, different promotional events or things to kind of like continue the interest and sustain it for that long. And the first time around, we didn't really.
And I think in my mind, I was thinking, like, I'm a huge reader of movie blogs and podcasts, and I thought, like, this is going to get picked up by all these sites, and they're going to spread it around, and then, like, we'll at least get enough backers to get funded. And then found out how hard it was to promote yourself and like emailing people and be like, hey, check out this thing I'm doing, especially when it's a Kickstarter and it's not like buy it now and try it. It's like, give me your money and trust that we're going to do this, So we learned the lesson the hard way, and then we kind of took the rest of the summer and kind of reworked the game a little bit. And then in the meantime, we had entered it in there's this festival in Boston called the Boston Festival of Indie Games.
Oh, okay.
And they I can't remember how many entered, but then they pick so many as a finalist, and you send a prototype, and then they picked like 50.
Yeah, they've kind of just started getting a little bigger. That 2016 was the first year that they had accepted submissions outside of the New England area.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
So we were excited to get
So
chosen.
We got chosen for that, and that was in September. And at that point, we, weren't as excited about it because we'd had that failed Kickstarter. And then we went to this event where we played the game with like hundreds of people for this one day for like 12 hours. And and this was still when it looked really rough, like different art, and people were asking us if they could buy copies, and like,
wow,
so it was just kind of this like huge jolt. Like, we need to like try this again.
Nice.
And, so then we did our Kickstarter that actually worked from November to December of 2015, and, still looked rough, but it was like, better, more well thought out. And,
the campaign was much better.
Yeah, we worked a lot harder during that month. Like, we were doing events like at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week. And, and so we were able to get funded with that. But then we kind of went through all these things where we realized we wanted to make some changes after the Kickstarter. And, we've been really lucky that we've had an awesome group of backers that, like, I think they realized this was our first time, and also that the changes were really good. Like, we switched manufacturers at the last minute, which added like some extra months on. And then, but that enabled us to go ahead and do the expansion pack that we wanted to do, but didn't think we'd be able to.
And to bring on Justin Gammon as our, artist.
So we had kind of had this plan of like
graphic designer, and he was very talented. I mean,
we kind of had this like phase 1, phase 2 plan. We were like, well, someday we'll get it redesigned and make it look better. And like, we realized like, well, that's silly. Like, we could get stuck with all these games that don't look great and not sell them, and there's never going to be a phase 2. And so,
and we really didn't want our backers to get like an inferior version
exactly,
of the game.
Like,
to get the
version.
Prototype version until we were able to afford a better.
So I'd been following this artist on online for years, and for a long time he blogged about like bootleg toys at weirdotoys.com, and so he's like amazing illustrator. He does a lot of stuff like for Denny's, and so I contacted him, and he was able to kind of use our existing art as like kind of almost conceptual design, and then he just like took it to another level and made it look super legit. And so plus at the same time we were rewriting the game,
sort of while that was we were going through the redesign. We actually ended up because some of the cards we had sort of written originally when as we had played the game, we played it a little more like a straightforward party game where you just kind of laid the cards out. And eventually we started realizing the core engagement of it was really when you started elaborating on the pitches and sort of really trying to sell it to somebody and telling a story with it. So after the Kickstarter, and while it was kind of in the redesign, we sort of realized we needed to tailor the game a little bit more towards that storytelling aspect and making sure all the different cards fit together well to bring the humor more out of the player rather than just
like we really we'd get together, and some days we'd just like talk for like 12 hours on a weekend, like, and we'd go through all these cards and we'd be like, well, how does this one card really, how would this one card really affect the story if somebody was pitching it, and tried to like eliminate as many like, throwaway cards as possible, and write a lot of new plots. And so we
ended up rewriting like 50% of our cards, I think.
Oh, wow.
After the Kickstarter.
Yeah. So
we had a lot of ones that we just ended up scrapping.
And then so over this past summer, we finally were able to submit it to the manufacturer, but then unfortunately the manufacturer had a ton of delays and like cost us like months, and we weren't able to like sell on Amazon over Christmas.
Oh, wow.
But it finally arrived, and
now it's here.
So, yeah. We're just in the process of fulfilling to the backers. Mm-hmm. So
nice. I was wondering how painstaking the cards were, because the game features 448 cards, and did you guys like personally come up with the text and the words on every card pretty much?
Mm-hmm. We had a couple people that contributed a few cards.
Okay.
And then, this had been a thing that we'd been talking about to friends and family for so long that every once in a while, like a, cousin would be like, hey, you should do this. And we'd work it into something.
I bet that got annoying after a while.
Yeah. We did get some good cards. Because I think it was a 12-year-old cousin of yours?
My niece came up with pole dancing as a descriptor card.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. The genre deck was actually the hardest because, obviously there's not 100 genres. And so we had to kind of use like a loose definition of that, and I think the extra words that we picked, that aren't genres worked out for, like direct to video, which funny enough, we found out recently that young people, like millennials younger than us, don't really understand the concept.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Direct to video.
Like,
that's
awesome.
There used to be movie stores. And so,
Right.
so that's kind of funny. But.
Wow, you really.
Sometimes if a Disney sequel wasn't quite up to snuff,
and now there's all this like direct to Netflix stuff that's really good, and so it's really hard to like make a comparison.
Oh man, yeah, just the sheer breadth of cards available. Like, I mean, there's so many different options there that it's really commendable and really
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah, so you guys it is on Amazon now, so you guys can buy it on Amazon, and it's also
if you're local, it's also at the Game Preserve in Greenwood. Thanks to Tony and working on a few more places. So
sweet,
cool,
nice. Yeah, that is. And there is an 80s extension pack.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. It was one of the stretch goals for our Kickstarter where we wanted to do this. We knew we wanted to do an expansion because we think that's obviously a big thing we could do in the future, and we had just randomly, we wanted to do a smaller one, and we thought of that one day, and
so we just ended up coming up with a few 80s action movie
kind of just like
cards
slightly more over the top, and so that was a stretch goal we didn't hit, but we went ahead and produced it anyway. And
sweet, nice. Do you have?
So that's one thing I'm really happy we were able to do. The Kickstarter went on way past when we projected it would get delivered, but we were able to deliver on a stretch goal that we didn't actually meet, which doesn't happen with a lot of Kickstarters. So
that's fantastic. Oh yeah, and that expansion pack is available on or at Game Preserve. Is it available on Amazon?
Yeah.
Also, nice.
Cheaper at the Game Preserve though.
Yeah.
Nice.
Always, if you have the chance, always go local and buy there.
Definitely.
Yeah, and do you have any other like expansion packs in the works? I know that it's
Yeah, we want to do another campaign maybe for a few, like maybe 3 to 4 expansions. Like
Sweet.
we like kind of the duality of having like 100 card expansions and then the little packs of like 30. And so we've got quite a few ideas. We're trying to think of the timing, like
yeah, we're working on timing and figuring out exactly how we want to divvy up the expansions because we have a lot of ideas. That's where I think the game's going to get a lot of fun is when you start getting a little more niche into like the sci-fi expansion or the fantasy expansion.
Oh,
Start
that's
mixing
perfect.
that in with the main game, and then with the 30 card expansions you can get even more specific and and
Nice.
nerdy. So
Like with the core game, we had to really vet each card, like, extreme vetting. We had to we didn't want to get too nerdy or too into one particular genre. And so but with the expansions, we can go crazy. And then I've always told people, I think the funnest thing is going to be like when you've got a fantasy expansion and, you just mix the cards in with the game and suddenly you can make a story about goblins helping Santa save Christmas or something like that. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Great.
And actually, I think
Nice.
an expansion that people wouldn't think would be fun that may end up being the most fun is romantic comedy because
nice.
people say they don't like them, but then it's like, well, you can make your own and you can mix it with the horror expansion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
putting romantic comedy situations into other genres tends to create a lot
That's
of
the best part.
hilarity.
That is,
We did a test round a couple weeks ago, and I had a teen vampire romance where she had to go back in time to prevent Hitler, I think.
Yeah.
And it
yeah.
didn't work out. So my pitch wasn't very good, but it was hilarious.
And, I had a courtroom drama about a hungover superhero fighting in a turf war with a gang.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite parts of the game is that we're not just trying to do grossed out humor or be offensive. We're every time you play, usually once or twice, everybody's just collectively well, that sounds like an awesome movie. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Just and we've played a million times and still haven't heard, anywhere close to all the combinations. And so,
Right. It's because of the absurdity of coming up with this kind of mixed match of tropes and stuff, it tends to skew towards humor. But some of the best pitches we get are just whoa, I really want to see that movie. This is
Nice.
not even a joke.
Oh yeah. So where can people find more information about Buy the Rights online and everywhere?
we can check our website, buytherightsgame.com. All of our social links are different because Buy the Rights was taken everywhere almost. Instagram, we're just Buy the Rights. Twitter, I think Buy the Rights with underscores between each word. We're on Facebook. But if you go to the website, you can link everywhere from there.
Nice.
And you can find us on Amazon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And links to all that will be in the show notes of this episode, of course. And why don't you kind of give us a rundown, because we're gonna play a few rounds here. Give us a rundown of the rules of the game.
It's super easy. I'm not a big rules. I kind of gloss over when people try to explain games to me. So you've got 4 decks that make up your movie in order, and they're numbered. To make it easy. You've got the genre, the descriptor, which describes the hero. So you could have a homeless superhero, and then the plot. And you get 2 cards from each deck, and each round one player is the producer, and everybody else are the screenwriters.
Yep. And the screenwriters are all using cards from their hand to sort of form the log line. So the example we have in our box is an action comedy about a kung fu fighting cat lady becoming a bounty hunter to pay off student loans. So then that's the pitch that you would elaborate on to
that's so great.
sort of sell it to the producer, and then the producer has a budget each round of 20 million that they can divide up in denominations of 5 million, 10 million, 20. So they can sort of distribute it however they want to buy the rights to the pitches that
And that's
impress
kind of
them the most.
One of the things that sets it apart a little bit from other party games is it's not just all or nothing on one player each round.
Right.
So, you're consistently second place. You might end up winning. And so kind of like that. But
Yeah, just
Cool.
you play. It's a party game, so people can kind of play however long they want. We say general good rule of thumb is once everybody's been producer twice, and then you can count up your money, and whoever has the most at the end wins.
Cool.
Nice. Well, it sounds like it's gonna be fun. All right. Should we go? I can be the producer first, and we can go counterclockwise if that works.
Sure.
Awesome.
The cards are numbered 1 through 4 to tell you what order they read in as far as what makes the most, a blank movie about blank, blank, blank. But, you can reveal the cards in whatever order you like. So sometimes the plot twist is it's a horror instead of romantic
Oh,
comedy.
nice.
You can, sort of play with how you pitch it.
Yeah, the fact that it's numbered really helps because there's like a cadence to how you would describe everything, and like the way if you do it out of order, it doesn't make sense. So that's I like how it's numbered. I'm not too smart, so
Don't underestimate yourself, Tiny.
okay, thank you, I appreciate that. So we're going counterclockwise. I mean, I'm up first. You gonna make me go first?
That would be counterclockwise would be.
Oh, it would be
right?
Tony first.
Right? Yeah.
I told you I'm not smart. I told you.
This way would be clockwise.
That would be.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Tony has to go first.
So, Tony doesn't have a microphone. Tony can be loud, but that's going to be really lousy audio quality. All right, so we ready?
Yes,
Everyone good?
Everyone's
Chad?
got their cards.
Yep.
All right. Well, I almost miss having 3, just because I like that extra little bit. Which, by the way, I did some of the game testing when they were out at like Heroes Emporium and stuff. When they were pitching for their second Kickstarter.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Tony was a big advocate for us. Yeah.
Sweet.
So, which, by the way, not
He
for
was
nothing,
always
at
out there at
Comic
the
Carnival.
events.
I was told to have you contact Comic Carnival too, but
Nice.
you can cut that, leave it in. It's your show.
It's like the business segment of the show.
Right.
We've never had one, so thank you.
Little peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So here's what we got. We're looking at a buddy comedy. Okay? That the main star of it is a super-powered gynecologist.
Okay.
And this gynecologist ended up with superpowers. And they were using them to become a bounty hunter to pay off their student loans. Because becoming a gynecologist, that ain't cheap. Okay?
I'm guessing it's rated R.
That's probably a safe assumption. No, we're going to go PG-13 for the wide theatrical release, and then we're going to do the director's cut, special
Unrated,
edition,
yeah.
unrated.
Nice.
So
Nice.
you got to get the most bang for the buck there. No pun intended.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. So, going back to the romantic comedy thing, this is a romantic comedy.
Okay. Could you put
Sorry,
yeah, you're good.
It's a romantic comedy, and it's about a socially awkward basement dweller. And this is a girl, I think, what's her name? Kimmy Schmidt.
Nice.
Ellie Kemper.
Ellie Kemper.
Kemper.
yeah, Ellie Kemper. Yeah.
She lives in her grandma's basement, and she's just kind of like, she works at Dairy Queen, and she hasn't done anything with her life.
Sure.
Somehow she's like taking a walk through the park one day, and it's about her finding Excalibur and going on a quest to find the legendary wizard Merlin. And it kind of changes her life. And when she finds Merlin, she falls in love with him. And that's the romantic comedy aspect of it.
Nice.
Nice. That sounds sweet.
Very nice. All right, so I've got something, a little something for the kids. It's a computer animated movie,
Okay.
and but it's got a little bit of I'm going to say like a little bit of a Studio Ghibli vibe. I think that's kind of
Nice.
Find a good director who's a big Miyazaki fan, but it's about a 3-foot tall professor, and this professor who's a little person. He's really wrapped up in his academic studies, but they're just not paying the bills, and he's got to find something that is gonna put food on the table. And so he decides the gimmick he's going to go with is he's going to build a bed and breakfast on an old graveyard. And the bed and breakfast he's going to sell it as a haunted bed and breakfast where the ghosts take care of the hotel and make all the food and everything. And he's going to have little, because he's a little person, little secret compartments and doors he comes out of where he is cooking the food and making the beds and stuff so that nobody sees him actually in there. And he's going to create the illusion that ghosts are serving his guests.
Nice.
So we're looking at a Dead and Breakfast.
Oh, we got puns.
Sweet.
That's
I
awesome.
think wouldn't hurt your ears there, listeners, but that was a mic drop by Tony.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mics are expensive. You do not drop the mics.
Please don't.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. So I have a movie. It's a tearjerker, and it's about a depressing rocket scientist. I picture him being played by Woody Harrelson.
Okay.
So the reason he's depressing is because he's an older guy and he is a rocket scientist who's never accomplished anything. He's never built a rocket. And it's a tearjerker because right when he is on the precipice of his greatest discovery, he goes to celebrate by going to a carnival, and he's turned into a teenager overnight because of a wishing machine. So it's kind of like Big with Tom Hanks, where he has to. It's a tearjerker because he has to try to find a way to become his adult self again. Ironically, because he's depressed about how old he is.
Or a better rocket scientist.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
but yeah, he becomes like this. He could become like this genius whiz kid. 'Cause
Yes,
he's
that's
like
true.
This kid who knows all this rocket science, but then he's depressed because he's only famous for knowing it. So
Right.
young, even though he's really an adult man.
All of his research is locked up, and they won't let him have access to it because he's 16 instead of 55. Yeah, that's what it is. His name's Kevin. I don't know why, but his name's Kevin.
Because why not?
Yes.
These are some good pitches. Good
Yeah.
pitches. And since we have 4 and they're in denominations of 5, I'm gonna just add 10 to my budget, so I'm gonna have 30 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do 30 million budget.
Buster around.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So I think I'm gonna give. I think I'm gonna do 10 million to Dead and Breakfast.
Nice.
Props to Tony for the name on that one.
Right. And let's see. I'm gonna do. I like the gynecology angle, but I'm still just gonna give you 5 for that. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. I think I'll give 10 to Tommy for what was the descriptor for that one?
Basement dwelling.
Basement dwelling. That's right. Yes.
Or no, that was basement dweller was the hero.
Dweller,
Socially
yeah.
awkward basement.
Okay. Matt loves Ellie Kemper.
I love Ellie Kemper, and I feel like I would identify with that character
Yeah.
quite a bit.
I'm going to chalk that up to pandering on his part.
I was gonna say pro tip
Completely.
is good casting will get you a long way.
Right.
in a lot of
Exactly.
pitches.
In Tiny, you get 5 million,
Okay, I'll
and
take it.
yeah, let's hopefully you can work within a budget there.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's expensive.
He is. So yeah.
Cool.
After each round, everybody just re-ups and gets one more from each deck.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Did you drop the die aspect in this round and holding on to that maybe for a
Yeah,
later
we-
version?
At one point, we had kind of come up with some house rules, and
Well, we do have that in the rules of the game as an alternate rule, but in the prototype version of the game we had a custom die
Yeah.
that we had used, and that was going to be a potential extra stretch
stretch
goal
goal. Yeah.
for the Kickstarter, but I mean we didn't have enough money to do a custom die, but we have alternate rules in the rule book for using just a regular 6-sided die.
And it just kind of like added different, like if one of them was Blockbuster Round where the budget was bigger, one of them was Hero Showdown where everybody, or like Genre Showdown where everybody used the same genre. I can't even remember what the
And
other.
there was the Blockbuster round that doubles the producer's budget for that round, and then producer kickback, where the producer just gets $5 million out of the
yeah.
budget for that. And that was sort of, I think the alternate rules say each person can do that once when they're producer per game.
Well, you see, I'm a lot like Tommy, where it's like rules. Okay, yeah, I've played this before. I know what's going on. Obviously, I don't. Sneaky hobbitses. I used to be able to do that impression so much better when I smoked like half a pack a day.
I'm just going to warn everybody right now to you got to bring your A game because this one's pretty awesome.
I got a really good one too. So
I've got a pretty good one too. I was a little wasn't sure which plot I should go with, but I think I picked the right one.
Well, remember, if it has to do with a young Han Solo, you're not really catching me at this point. So.
Right.
And you'll notice that some of our plot cards sound familiar. It's funny. We've had some people say like we're trying to do that and be sneaky and get real movie plots in there, but that's kind of the joke, you know.
Right.
Mixing up. You know, just a few of them are like real movies, and mixing them up is kind of the.
It's a little, yeah. I mean, it's a mild, but it's a little bit of a subtle satire on Hollywood and kind of the way movies actually get made,
Right.
get written. Because, I mean, even some of our favorites, you know, I mean, Indiana Jones was just like a mix of Steven Spielberg's and George Lucas's favorite movies, you know, taking the same plot. So.
Oh yeah.
Didn't we at the Hoosier Con Thanksgiving that one year? Didn't one of us actually come up with a legitimate movie plot?
Probably
Using the
that happens
cards.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
We used to have I don't know if we still have it or not. We might have taken it out. We had basically the plot of Bill and Ted, the first movie.
Nice.
I think that was one that people would like make by accident.
That's great.
Oh, that's great. Okay, and let's see. Do we want to start with Tommy and go counterclockwise
Yep.
here?
Wow, me, Tommy.
Yeah, I should have put that pressure on myself. So this is direct-to-video, like I was talking about earlier. If you're young, we explained it earlier, but so this is something that never came to the theaters, but you'd get it at Blockbuster. And
What's
this was-
Blockbuster?
This is actually like an educational direct-to-video.
Okay.
And it's about a homeless grandma, and you know, she's kind of fallen on hard times, and she kind of gets into drugs. And this is made in the 90s, you know, and so I don't know who it would have been. I guess Betty White was still kind of an old lady in the 90s. So.
Yeah.
But it was probably somebody like, you know, less famous from some random, you know, like one of like the least famous Golden Girls or something.
Nice.
But it's about a homeless grandma getting a lesson about drug abuse from an eclectic group of 80s cartoon characters. So I was mistaken.
Man.
This is an 80s movie. And so, you know, it's like just a really random group of 80s cartoon characters, kind of like she hallucinates and they kind of help her kick the drug problem. And it was produced by Ronald Reagan.
Nice.
That's so sad.
Oh man.
Wow.
This plot card is actually based on one of my favorite things in the world. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and look up Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue.
Okay.
And
Starts to the
thank me
rescue.
later.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
Remember, I'm old. That actually rings a bell with me.
That's great.
Good old Nancy Reagan. All right. Well, Mr. Producer, as you know, gritty reboots are all the rage in Hollywood these days, and so we're taking a time-honored classic film property, and we're taking it into a darker territory, and we're making it relevant to the modern audience. And what it's going to be about this elite operative who's hunting down an elusive hacker, and it's about someone who's hunting down the people that hacked the 2016 elections, the Russian hackers. So it's about the special team sent in to do that. But the twist is the person that they've sent to do that is they've sent Airbud from the future, a golden retriever, back in time. It's time-traveling Airbud. He's come from the future, and he's come to save American democracy for everybody.
Oh man.
Oh, that sounds huge.
That's great.
This
Sounds like the sort of film that only the best brain can come up with.
That's great.
I'm sorry, guys. Too soon.
The sad thing is that does not seem like it's out of the realm of possibility. It's reality now.
Sounds like a fake movie. That's awesome.
That is terrific.
Wow, those are hard to follow, but I'm going to do my best here. So, I have an animated musical here. it's for the kids. Not really. The musical stars a pretentious archaeologist. His name is Arizona Miller. And he has to negotiate a tense hostage situation. So, because of his pretentiousness, his right-hand man goes off the rails and takes hostages at his latest archaeological dig. And through the art of song, he has to negotiate the hostage situation. The resounding song, or the key song that makes up the whole thing, is called I Can Dig It. It's about, because he can understand why the guy is so upset. He's like, I can dig it. And that's the chorus of the song. The title of the movie is Arizona Miller and the Pit of Pretentiousness.
This is definitely a DreamWorks feature.
It's DreamWorks, yeah. It's produced by Steven Spielberg.
Nice.
Eyebrow on the poster now.
Yep. The right-hand guy who goes nuts is probably played by Gary Oldman, because I'm a big fan of his. I don't know who the archaeologist would be. Shia LaBeouf.
Oh yeah,
You had me.
animate Shia LaBeouf with the
You
arched
almost
eyebrow
had me.
and the-
Yeah. I almost had you, dang it.
You almost had me.
Well, he did
Okay.
such a great job in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Exactly. He was supposed to take up the mantle of Indiana Jones, so that's why Yeah, so there you go.
Well, he was also in Holes.
He was. That's
right.
Oh, very good. Dang, you're on it tonight, producer. I'm not pandering right now. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Has anybody put together a montage? Because it's something I've noticed, but I've never seen of all the DreamWorks movie posters with the raised eyebrows.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Now I can't unsee that. I don't think I've ever noticed
Every
that.
single there's always at least one character with the raised
Wow.
eyebrow.
I was trying to do it, but I can't. It's an audio podcast. Let's all pretend that I raise my eyebrow.
Okay.
To great comedic effect.
That is some mad eyebrow raising skills there, Mr. Hurt.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
you look
intimidated.
just like a
Thank
DreamWorks
you.
poster.
That's all I ever wanted to hear. All right, so let's see. So my pitch, it's an action comedy about a foreign exchange student. Now, this foreign exchange student, he is from, let's say, Germany, and let's say Germany. And the thing is, he's middle aged, so he hasn't, he missed out on his collegiate experience and decided that he wanted to finally come to the U.S. and he wanted to study abroad, and so he's a foreign exchange student from Germany in the U.S. And he's just kind of sowing his wild oats and everything until the day that he unintentionally bought a magic ring at a mysterious antique shop.
Ooh.
And this changed his life because he, there's kind of a cultural divide between, the U.S. and his culture and everything. Let's say he's in New York City, and this magic ring kind of turns him into just a complete a-hole to people. And it's to the point where he doesn't realize that he is being an a-hole to everyone. The redemption thing is that he eventually realizes that he's being an a-hole and everything. But, the title of the movie is that he is you can imagine it like on the poster saying, actor, oh man, what was his name? Keir O'Donnell. Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the Uber brat. He's an Uber
Okay.
brat.
Nice. I
I've
guess.
said this
That's-
before, but get out.
Cause he's an Uber brat. Anyway, so yeah, that's my pitch.
So, well, these were all really good pitches with sad grandma scene, hallucinating cartoon characters, and the golden retriever, and just lost me at Shia LaBeouf.
Man, we can recast. We can recast.
and the Uber brat. But I'm gonna have to go all in on the dog that is going to help prevent the rise of the alt-right to keep from becoming Airbud.
Yes.
I wish I could disagree with that.
I can't disagree with
that
that
was
at all.
so
That was
brilliant.
Makes me think of something I thought the other day, or the day of the inauguration. I was like, well, this proves that time travel doesn't exist.
Yeah. Nice.
Have you considered? Have you seen the theory online that this is what happens when you have so many time travelers coming back to try to fix something? This is what happens.
Darkest timeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just think, all the time travelers, that could be what made it the highest attended inauguration in history.
They were all just invisible.
Guys, I mean, I know you're watching Who. This is a fixed point. This is what happens
Yes.
when you try messing with the fixed point in the timeline.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Nice.
but moving on, I will pass the microphone over to Tommy, who will be the producer on this round.
Speaking of the president, we were kind of realized after we made all these cards, after Trump rose to power, that there were all these cards that we didn't realize ended up like you can make all these movies about Trump. Like we've got narcissistic and like
Former president is one of our heroes, and
hopefully that one will be true before too long.
Yeah, yeah.
Reality TV star, billionaire, stuff like that.
But there are also a lot of really cool Obama movies you can make now that he's a former president. Just remake Bad Boys starring Obama.
But just like he's just the Will Smith part, and you just still have Martin Lawrence as the other guy.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Martin Lawrence? Does he still do stuff?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't think so, really.
Yeah, they were supposed to come out with Bad Boys 3, but they keep pushing it back. I don't know why.
He went into retirement kind of like Eddie Murphy. All right, I suppose I'll go first. All right, so for this movie, Mr. Producer, we're taking the gangster genre movies and we're doing a parody of it. It's a parody film, so it's a little subversive. So it stars, your typical kind of macho mob boss, but he's a modern mob boss for the hipster age, and he's vegan actually. And so it's a vegan mob boss, and his it's sort of like a gangster, like Godfather meets Clerks.
Okay.
Like it's a lot of just kind of back and forth, like pop culture banter between the mob boss and his lackeys, and they're like kind of like giving him shit for being a vegan. And so he makes this bet with them that he can live on the streets for a month just eating out of dumpsters to prove that he's also
Foraging.
he's becoming a vegan like forager, proving that he can do this and survive all the rival gangsters that are going to try to take him out living on the streets.
Wow.
Nice.
Did you envision as the mobster?
I was thinking somebody kind of like aired out, like maybe like a Robert Downey Jr. or someone that's like a little bit kind of sophisticated, witty and funny. And
I can see that.
For a second, I thought you said Airbud. I was like, wait, what?
I was thinking Airbud. We're taking Airbud to a whole new direction.
A vegan golden retriever.
We're starting a whole Airbud cinematic universe.
ABC.
I don't want to admit how badly I want to see that.
Oh my
You
god.
just need to take all the existing Airbud movies, cut them together, and add like a Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just add stingers to the end of the Airbud movies with Sam Jackson teasing the new ones coming.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's terrific.
That's great. We're getting a basketball team together.
Dear God, that's great.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Oh,
Again, I'm not sure I'm going to follow that. So this is a holiday party or a holiday movie, and it stars an alcoholic tattoo artist.
That's scary.
Yeah. And so he has his tattoo shop kind of in like the inner city area, kind of in the hood, if you will. And he's not considered very cool by the local kids or the local cool group or whatever, because he's an alcoholic tattoo artist and he messes up all of his tattoos. So he's not cool because he's constantly like falling asleep when he's trying to do a tattoo, or he's, passing out or something like that. But he decides to take up a class to focus him to get over his alcoholism. So he takes up a breakdancing class, and he finally connects with the group of kids through a breakdancing competition, and he does it on Christmas Day. So that's what makes it a holiday movie.
Oh man,
I'm not sure who would play him. I'm going to say Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay.
Because I think he could play an alcoholic tattoo artist really well. I don't know.
He can play anything.
He could play anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like something my mom would watch on the Hallmark Channel.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she definitely would.
Nice.
It's called Christmas Boogaloo.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the hero of this movie that I'm about to pitch is an unhinged mommy blogger. The movie starts with her being, she's very much into this whole mommy blogging thing. She's blogging about being a mother, parenthood, everything, documenting her kids' lives and everything. Then she finds out that her young child is the victim of bullies at school. And this sends her over the edge. And she decides to get back at the bullies by winning the local Battle of the Bands competition. Because the head of the bullies gang is in a punk band. But the thing is that she is so unhinged by the torment that her child has suffered at the hands of this bully, that she can only see the bullies and the bullies band as these monstrous creatures, making this a creature feature, where the unhinged mommy blogger wins the Battle of the Bands competition.
That's deep, man.
Yes. Oh yes. It's a very psychological experience for her, and yeah, I'm trying to think of a title, but it's escaping me here. Control Alt Defeat. I don't know, because they're in a Battle of the Bands and she's defeating them. Yeah, that's my pitch. She's yeah.
All right. Let's see. I've had some time to think about this. So let's see if I can pitch it the way I envision it. Okay. So now, bear in mind, like most people in Hollywood who are pitching films, they haven't seen any of the films that they're leading up to the sequel that they're pitching. Okay, and this is going to be the same way here. Okay, envision a shot zooming in on a Verizon store inside a mall, and there's just an iPhone 7 there that'll just flicker on and off with like a face, just this ghostly face on it. The scene fades out, goes back in the next day. It's bright. It's sunny. Kevin James goes rolling by on a Segway. Okay? He stops in, is looking at phones at the Verizon store. Fade into the next night. Kids are walking out to the car, group of teenagers. You see something flash in front of the camera. You hear a scream. It goes to black. Comes back during the day. Kevin James is playing with his new phone, and it starts ringing, and he starts hearing screams, and it fades out. Somehow in here, we're still workshopping this. He's now psychic. Okay, so what we got here, we're working on a horror film, Paul Bart. Final Blood. And it's going to be a horror film where a psychic mall cop discovers that their cell phone lets him talk to ghosts.
Oh, that is
Nice.
that's
Okay, so
beautiful.
we're going to take the Mall Cop series into a completely new direction. And we think this is just going to be huge.
I really like the implied crossover with Rambo. John Rambo might get the first blood, but Paul Blart gets the final.
Nice. And you got all kinds of product placement too, like Verizon, iPhone, Segway.
Cinnabon.
Clever. Yeah,
I
undoubtedly.
thought for a second you were going to have the unnecessary sequel genre card.
That's great.
Oh, that's terrific.
I could see Paul Blart being the Samuel Jackson in the Air Buds cinematic universe.
Oh yeah, that'd be fitting.
Oh, that would be great.
And you see, I probably could have fleshed that out more had I actually ever seen one of those films.
Oh,
I've seen the first one. It's yeah.
Of course you have, Matt.
Yep.
And this is before you had the whole movie pass thing.
yeah.
Oh, I saw it on. I don't know how I saw it. I rented it. I did not see it in the theater.
Sure you didn't, Matt.
He didn't see it in the theater 3 times.
Right. I don't have the Segway tattooed
So
on my
that gets
ass.
10.
Woohoo!
That should fund like 5 more Paul Blart movies. We got to go with the Christmas break dancing too.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, get ready to wow me.
All right. Okay.
You up first, Tiny?
All right. So this is a movie. It's a psychedelic movie, and it involves our hero, who is a narcoleptic reality TV star, traveling across the country to compete in a video game tournament. So it's kind of psychedelic and I think like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas kind of feel. And so the guy became a reality TV star because of his narcolepsy. Everybody thought it was hilarious that he kept falling asleep all the time on Big Brother. And so he lost his fame because his narcolepsy was cured. But the narcolepsy was cured with medication that had negative psychedelic effects on him. So while he's traveling across the country to compete in this video game tournament to regain his honor, he kind of ends up all over the place because he's so whacked out from the drugs. The title is Fear and Loathing in Des Moines. Because Des Moines is where the tournament is.
Nice.
Yeah. And it stars Johnny Depp, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the hero at the center of this movie is a vampire. But he's not any just normal vampire. Let's imagine this in a kind of a world where we're okay with vampires. They've been around. We're good. Think like kind of a more progressive like True Blood style place where vampires are just everyday thing. This is a political thriller in which he is the vampire is desperately trying to conceal the fact that he is a cross-dresser.
A cross-dressing vampire.
Yes.
All right.
Because he has won a contest that lets him become president for a day. So
They're okay with the vampire. But not
they're okay with the vampire, but the southern states are a little they're a little weird. Like they're fine with the vampires because they had True Blood and that was set in Louisiana. But cross-dressing, they're just not too keen on. So he spends his day. It's a full 24 hours. He spends it trying to keep away the press from seeing that he is a cross-dressing vampire because it would ruin his legacy as a president. And
You can pick one, but you can't be both.
right. And the kicker is that he actually ends up having a higher approval rating than Trump.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's mine. President Count Count Thong. Yeah.
Count Thong.
Count President, I think, is a good
Count
President. Yeah, there we go.
Because is it count royalty? I don't know.
I'm just thinking of Count Dracula.
I know, but I wonder, is that a title of royalty?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it is.
I think so, yeah.
I think it is.
The Count of Monte.
So does
Probably
the
if I
royalty...
had watched one more season of Downton Abbey, I'd have it.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'd watched any seasons of Downton Abbey. But okay, it's let's see what I can scrape together here. So what we've got, we're taking a long running series. We're gonna bring it back a little bit. We're gonna try to. We need to do a sequel. It's not really necessary. You see what happens. You see what happens when you start saying things, Tommy. It's not really necessary, but we want to try to get at least one more sequel out of this. So this time, instead of going off the vampires, we're going to be looking at the lichens. We're going to be looking at the werewolves. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a kung fu fighting werewolf.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. But this is going back. He's still not quite a pup, but he's a young werewolf, and he's at camp, and there's a kind of a rival camp kind of across the lake. You know how that goes. That's the vampire camp, and they're the werewolf camp.
Okay.
And so what's happening is over the course of the film, this werewolf is trying to win the heart of his vampire crush. So he's trying to win the heart of the crush on the last day of their summer camp. It's the most recent entry into the Underworld film series.
I was wondering if you were going to go Underworld or Twilight.
Yeah.
No Twilight. We're going to Underworld at Camp Akuna Lefty. So
that's really unnecessary because they said this. Didn't they say this last one was going to be the last Underworld?
If I had watched any of the previous Underworld films, I would be able to tell you this. But like a good Hollywood pitchman, I have never seen an Underworld film in my life.
Of course.
I'm just going off of the vague knowledge that involves werewolves and vampires.
High school summer camp, Underworld.
Yeah.
We got it.
So
I like it.
I liken it. Yeah.
Damn it.
All right, we've got something different here. This is a movie about an illiterate rabbi. And he's kind of obviously, just conned his way through, rabbi school.
He did the thing where he just memorized it, listens to people reading the Torah, and just memorizes it,
exactly.
and can actually read it.
Mm-hmm. And but he finally realizes, that he needs to learn to read, and so he goes about it in a weird way. He's kind of afraid to talk about it, so he gets a group of his closest friends together, and it's about him renting a cabin in the woods with a group of friends on Halloween, which is supposed to be this teach me to read retreat weekend. But that's where the genre comes into play, and it's actually a supernatural horror movie. And he's got this ancient Torah that's kind of haunted, and as he's learning to read, these spirits are kind of coming to life and haunting him.
Oh, wow.
It's like a Jewish parody of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a Torah retreat.
It's called The Cabin in the Woods. It's terrible.
Oh, that is.
I'm the least anti-Semitic person you've ever met.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I hate that was an actual quote.
Yep. Yeah, it was.
Oh.
We said we were distributing 30 this game, right?
Oh, I did 20.
I did 20.
Oh, well, let's keep it at 20 then.
Matt just thinks
Treat
he's
it as a-
special because it's his show.
Yeah. Can't tell him no.
No, you can't.
I definitely gotta give 10 for the
Sweet.
Haunted Torah retreat.
Totally.
I think, I know I'm gonna make money with teen vampires and werewolves, so I'm definitely gonna give 5 for that. And then I want to see Johnny Depp in this video game movie. I think you got a good cross-section of audiences there.
Awesome.
Nice.
See where that goes.
Let me hear it. I don't got all day.
All right. So let's see. Let me see what best way to pitch this. Okay, so this is a movie about a child star. He rose to fame. He's just a preteen. He rose to fame making the latest remakes of the Home Alone series. It's been a huge hit, and he's just the star, the it guy now. So he is kind of, he's getting pushed into doing drugs as a young child star. So so he's being pushed into doing drugs, and he suddenly finds out that he is the only person who's able to try to blow up an asteroid that's on a collision course with Earth. And so he is basically the president has assigned him this job because he's seen the movies and he sees how handy he is with traps and everything. He thinks they can kind of mousetrap their way out of this collision course, this asteroid scenario. But the problem is that this child actor, he's been on drugs and everything, so all of his gadgets aren't working because he's hallucinating the entire time. And it gets so bad that it actually turns it into a 2D animated movie. And so he's just whacked out of his mind. And all of his plans are failing. And I mean, he obviously has to survive and win and everything. But his career just goes down the toilet.
It's dark, man.
It is.
So it transitions from live action to...
Yes, it would.
Nice.
Let's go ahead and
Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Sure. Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were saying.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Okay.
But yeah, it does transition into it.
Nice.
And we're kind of left. It kind of leaves off in kind of a Nolan-esque ending where we're not quite sure if there was really an asteroid or not, or if he was just tripping balls
that haven't descended yet.
Right.
Because he's
right.
That's ridiculous. Because he's a kid.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
I don't have a title, but yeah, I think that the big selling point for it would be the ending and us not knowing what's to come.
Okay, I like it. Tony.
All right, so we're going to bring it down. Unfortunately, I didn't get the documentary card here, so can't completely pander to you.
It's going to hurt you.
So what we're looking at trying to do a more serious, more art house sort of flick. Okay. We're gonna bring in your favorite actor. We're gonna bring in Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
Okay. What's gonna happen? He's gonna be playing a pool boy. But this pool boy is blind. No, this isn't Deuce Bigelow. Deuce Bigelow type film. Okay. We're going artsy. We're going like that.
Okay.
As he's making his way through life, he adopts a stray cat that turns out to be possessed by the spirit of Richard Nixon.
Okay.
And so you know what kind of advice this cat is giving this man.
Oh my!
And so we're working title we're working with right now is Fluffy Dick. This is still being workshopped. But that's what we're looking at here.
He gives him advice to record everything because he's blind, so he has to rely on his hearing for I like it. Nice.
Oh my God. Oh.
I thought I had a good one. All right. Well, growing up, I was a big fan of the Ernest movies and kind of secretly still am. And so this is kind of an Ernest movie that never got made that I think would have been awesome. This is kind of his in the later years when they weren't as successful and they were kind of starting to get a little more weird. And so they had to start pandering to the kids to try to, get them to buy the VHS tapes. So this is a slapstick comedy about a redneck stand-up comedian, Ernest. And it's about him getting sucked into a video game where he has to beat every level in order to return home. And so this was awesome. I don't know, 1997 or something. So it was probably like the Sega era, Super Nintendo. So, it's one of those kind of like platformer games, and it's just like horrible, and he's like, it's basically just Ernest on it in a platformer video game for 2 hours.
Nice.
I'm sure there's a perfect title. I can't think of it. Ernest
played stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nice.
Nice.
I loved Ernest too.
Yeah.
All right, so mine, it's going to be a cult classic remake. So this is we made a very low budget version of it. Did the festival circuit? It's gotten some momentum. We're going to try to do a Hollywood version of it.
Okay.
And we've got Billy Bob Thornton attached. He's going to play a retired lounge singer. So he's been a lounge singer for a long time. He's been broke for a long time. Kind of at his rock bottom moment a little bit. He's an alcoholic.
Okay.
He's Bad Santa Billy Bob Thornton, basically.
Okay.
And he answers this, and he decided he's going to give up his dream of becoming a big-time singer. He answers this strange ad he finds in a newspaper that says, must be able to sing, must be able to speak German, which he does in German class,
Okay.
and must be willing to permanently relocate. He's like, well, I got nothing to lose, fine.
Okay.
And it says to show up at this strange address, and he goes, and he finds himself in this weird basement with all these wires and computers and electrical equipment going around. And it turns out that he's found some guys who managed to harness quantum energy and found this way to transport somebody back in time to a certain time and location, but they can't take anything with them and they can't come back.
Okay.
They show up naked. And they're recruiting someone to go back in time and kill Hitler.
Wow.
But they've tried it a few times. No one's come back. It's a one-way shot.
Yeah.
And you basically, it's basically a suicide mission. So he goes in, but the goal is they're able to send him back to this time where he's able to impersonate a famous lounge singer, a German lounge singer. At the time.
Okay.
So he's got to become this big lounge singer and get close to Hitler, be able to perform for Hitler to kill him.
Nice.
Nice.
I like the idea of like this team sending people back and not knowing if it was successful or not. Just like
They're
refreshing.
just sending people who got nothing to lose. Like,
Refreshing Wikipedia.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when did he die?
They've got like a wall of heroes that's just like homeless people that they took out the street that they, like sent back in time.
That's great. Oh man.
And he's, obviously he's going to get into some drunken shenanigans in Germany. And,
Gotcha.
it's a very dark comedy.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Coen Brothers directed it, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You could call it
Bad Santa meets Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, you could call it Singen the Deutsch. Nice. Okay, so I get 20 million here.
Yeah, it's one.
Let's see.
Ernest goes 8-bit. Would have been.
Ernest goes 8-bit.
That's
Yes.
perfect.
That's great. Okay.
Oh man.
I gotta go all in on Fluffy Dick, which is a sentence that none of you can ever tell to my fiance.
You are so going to be editing that
That's going to be on the internet now. That can be taken out of context.
And
anyway.
I chose
Finally.
that sentence specifically so for that reason, because somebody had to say it.
Almost 4 years of podcasting, I finally have the dirt on you to blackmail you to do whatever I want.
Oh, I'm an adult man. Awesome.
That is so great. Oh, I'm going to isolate that audio and put it on Instagram.
Yes, that should be on our next banner
Oh,
for the
yes.
conventions. Like, that's awesome.
Going all on Fluffy Dick. Oh, that is beautiful.
the Obsessive Viewer Podcast. We go all in on Fluffy Dick.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's awesome.
You guys found a whole new niche audience.
Oh yeah.
Good dude. Yeah, we're
that's
gonna
beautiful.
We're gonna get an odd spike in downloads from those keywords. The Google searches are gonna pop up in next week. Oh man.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So clearly, this game is ridiculously fun.
Oh yeah.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Man.
I've got 20 million.
I've got nothing.
I got 30.
I have 20 as well.
I have 30.
30?
I got 40.
Looks like Tony's our winner.
Very nice.
Fluffy Dick put you over the top.
And what do I win? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Bragging rights.
You're the king of Hollywood, Tony.
Yeah. I remember like a couple years ago, I don't know where the idea came from, but we kind of played a game where it was like a fake movie title.
Yeah, it was for our 100th episode.
Was it?
We did
Okay.
a fake movie game where we basically took fake movie titles and pitched a plot around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one of the best ones that Matt came up with was the title was Perforated Justice. And so
yeah.
I came up with the plot that it was a detective who was really famous, but only because every single murder he had to solve was super easy. Because it's perforated justice. And of course the plot or the conflict
so
arose
great.
when he had a crime to solve that was actually really difficult. It was like a solid like whodunit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
was fun.
There's a board game actually out there that's got a similar style to this called I think it's called Channel A, but it's about pitching anime movie or anime TV shows based on the titles.
Nice.
So the cards provide the title. So it'll be like, you'll get various pieces of anime tropes. So you might make a title that's like Mecha XXX Metal Angels or something. And then you like pitch what that anime show is.
Okay, that'd be challenging.
So you guys have taken by the rights to different conventions and stuff?
Yeah, this summer will be our first time at Gen Con, which we're really excited about.
Awesome,
nice.
dude.
Really competitive to get in there, and we didn't really, from what we'd heard, we didn't think we were going to get a booth, and so
Yeah, they had like 200 people on their wait list last year,
Yeah.
didn't they say? And they were supposed to let us know middle of December, and they took extra time going through all the submissions they got this year till.
So we'll be in like Entrepreneurs
That's
Alley for like kind of all first time people. So we're really
man.
excited about that, and we'll probably be at the Hoosier Con on the west side. And when is that? In
A couple weeks.
weeks.
March 31st, April 1st, and 2nd.
Yeah.
we're shooting for having a booth at Indie PopCon.
Nice.
So
Man, Gen Con, that's like the Super Bowl
yeah.
of gaming. That's awesome, man.
Huge.
That's great.
That is fantastic.
so I've never been, so my first time will be running a booth.
Being an exhibitor.
Well, I can tell you, as someone who has, humble brag, covered Gen Con as a member of the press for the last few years, including the 50th anniversary this year. Entrepreneur Alley is kind of the smaller area away from everyone else, but a lot of folks do a focus to go there because they've seen the same stuff year in and year out, from Fantasy Flight, from, just all
Yeah.
I keep saying TSR. God, I'm old. Wizards and Hasbro and just all those different companies. They like going through Entrepreneurs Alley. So you guys,
That's cool.
yeah, we'll talk more when we podcast later.
Yeah, I feel like you got that. There's always those hot games people know they're gonna be waiting at the doors to go get. Like this year was the Harry Potter game, Battle at Hogwarts. Lots of people lining up to go for that one, but we're hoping then once you get the new game, people want to go and check out
Piggyback off that.
little stuff they haven't.
Yeah,
seen.
awesome.
We do that kind of thing every year.
We do.
PopCon.
Yeah. Hunting down celebrities and saying, hey, record with me. And they say no. And we say, but please. And you push them until they can't say no. Do that. It's worked for us.
True story. I actually let Casper Van Dien say no and rolled with it.
Oh,
Because
really?
it was right after some guys played Cards Against Humanity with him on the podcast stage. They used my Cards Against Humanity deck. that had the personalized Tony Troxell card in it. And he got it. And there's audio out there of him going, "Who's Tony Troxell?"
How could he not know?
And so I went over and I introduced myself. And it's like, do you have time for a few questions? And he just kind of got this look because it was Sunday afternoon at the con.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I go, dude, if you're exhausted, just say you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a blogger. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And he just gets this relax. He just kind of just collapses. He's thank you. It's like, dude, don't worry about it. You're cool.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So it's okay to let them say no, Tiny.
Okay. I'm not
Don't
sure I'm
intimidate
convinced.
the celebrities.
Okay.
Remember, they're used to having stunt people to take punches for them.
Yeah. Well, the first celebrity that I really talked to ever at a con was Christian Nairn from Game of Thrones.
Nice.
And I'm a pretty big guy, but he's 6 inches taller than me and massive. So I was super intimidated. So if I can overcome that,
yeah.
And I talked to Esme Bianca, so
Yeah.
that was definitely nice.
Yeah. I remember that.
I do too.
I have
been
that
to
on film
many
somewhere.
Conventions, but when I was 16, I think is when the Star Wars celebration was in Indianapolis the first time.
Oh,
And I
nice.
convinced my dad to take me, and I'd never been to anything like that, so we didn't stand in line to meet anybody, but we just kind of walked around and saw Billy D. Williams go to the bathroom and
So
Kenny
great.
Baker and cool.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Whew. Well, this was a blast, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
awesome.
And
Thanks for having us.
yeah, and congratulations on the game.
Thank you.
Once again, tell everyone where they can find it. And
It's buytherightsgame.com. If you search for Buy the Rights on Amazon, you can find it. We're on Twitter and I'm on Twitter, Tommy_Day. Tweet about random stuff.
I'm still. I don't tweet a lot, but I lurk a lot on Twitter. But I'm at the Phil Chad. If you want to find me as well,
Cool.
I'll be your friend.
perfect. And Tony, do you want to tell where they can find you?
I was to say at this point, I think, because I've been on one, so we're not talking ficus level or anything like that.
Yeah.
But, so you can find me, geekinginindiana.com, at Indiana Geeking on the tweeters. Look up Geeking in Indiana on the Facebook. But I swear, if you like my page and if you're not part of the Obsessive Viewer fan group, you are failing in social media.
Yes, I'm so glad you said it and not
You
me.
can quote me on that if you would like to separate that audio and use it anywhere. I am Tony Troxell. I approve this message. If you follow the Geeking in Indiana Facebook page and you are not part of the Obsessive Viewer fan group, you are failing at social media. So says the second best Twitter account in Indianapolis, as voted by readers of Nouveau Magazine in 2015 and 2016. Mic drop.
Nice.
Thank you so much for that. In the finished thing, there's going to be so many references to Fluffy Dick in that, though. So just be aware of that. All right. Well, thanks again for coming on, guys. And
It's gonna be. I'm all in for Fluffy Dick. I'm Tony Troxell. I approve this message.
yes.
I'm Tony Troxell, and I'm all in for Fluffy Dick.
Is it weird that I'm jealous that he gets it now?
Yeah. Oh, your day will come. Your day will come.
You can find Tony at Fluffy Dick on Twitter.
Oh my God. All right. Once again, thank you guys for coming on, and
you.
come check them out at Gen Con and
Yeah.
potentially Indie PopCon,
Yeah,
and
we should.
also at Hoosier Con.
Yeah.
Hoosier Con. We might have an event going on around Indiana Comic Con. We're a little
Sweet.
late to get a table there, but
We should be having a hosted game night at Game Preserve sometime in the future too.
Sweet. Yeah, follow them on social media to keep up to date with that.
absolutely.
And you're not actually going to find me as Fluffy Dick on Twitter because that belongs to a Cody Boone out of Michigan. But feel free to follow. He's following 5 people. He has no followers. So
When the sequel
No
comes
followers.
out, the sequel comes out, Fluffy Dick 2. There you go.
You could be real Fluffy Dick.
Well. Oh God. All right. Let's wrap this up. If you like what you heard and you want to help support the podcast, the easiest way to do that, guys, is to go over to iTunes and leave a rating and review. The more ratings and reviews we get, the easier it will be for people to find the show in iTunes' search results. And if you want to show your support with your wallet, you can do that by clicking the donate button on obsessiveviewer.com for a one-time donation, or by clicking the donate link in the show notes of this episode. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer, where you can choose from several different reward tiers that I just recently updated. So go check that out. Any and all donations made will help pay the fees to keep the podcast running, so we can continue to provide you with our weekly podcast here. And once again, thanks guys for coming on to play By the Rights, and thank you for making By the Rights, because it's such a blast. And once again, everyone go buy it on Amazon or at Game Preserve here in Indianapolis, and soon everywhere.
Oh, you can also play it at Kingmakers. Definitely go check that place out.
Oh, nice.
New board game.
Sweet.
Board game bar just opened up on Mass Ave. You can go have beer and wine and play a board game. You can play By the Rights there.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, sweet. All right, well, thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks guys.
Thanks.
I am Tony Troxell. I approve this message. If you follow the Geeking in Indiana Facebook page, I am all in for Fluffy Dick.
Thank you for listening to The Obsessive Viewer, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find more of our episodes at ovpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast app. The Obsessive Viewer's theme song is An Eclipse of Events and is provided by Loudlike from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. You can find that and more great music from them on iTunes, and like their Facebook page at facebook.com/loudlikemusic. Any and all feedback on the podcast is encouraged. You can email the hosts individually at Matt, Tiny, or Mike at obsessiveviewer.com, or send an email to the podcast in general at podcast@obsessiveviewer.com. Check out the Obsessive Viewer blog at obsessiveviewer.com, where we post movie and TV reviews and the occasional editorial about the business of entertainment. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer, and follow us on Twitter at obsessiveviewer, at obsessivetiny, and at IamMikeWhite. If you want more obsessive content in your life, check out our sister site, obsessivebooknerd.com, for book reviews, author spotlights, and a general celebration of reading. Finally, if you're philosophically curious, check out Tiny's side project podcast, The Secular Perspective, which explores the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com, and subscribe to the podcast on the podcatcher of your choice. Again, thank you so much for listening. We love you. Be excellent to each other.